Okay, third thing we're talking about is Impacto. So this is the third thing with children. First, we talked about VBS, lessons in the communities. Then we talked about the schools when we go into the school system. And now we're talking about Impacto. Impacto is the church that we partner with from Bellevue. So when we think about Impacto and Bellevue, that is the main church that we will be with. Now, we are not at that church doing ministry most of our trip. However, we will be serving at and with Impacto Church on Sunday. So the only time you're going to see that on your schedule is going to be Sunday. So Sunday will be church day. Just like we come to church at Bellevue, we will be going to church at Impacto on Sunday. And you will see that there is a service at 9 and a service at 11. And then you'll see that there is a service at 5. Get my pen there. So service at 5. The only two that we are actively doing ministry is the morning services at 9 and 11. And we are going to split our team. So half will do ministry at 9 and the other half will sit in the service, and we will have a translating headpiece. And so we'll be able to listen to the service. The other half of our team will serve at 11, and then the other half will be in the service. So everybody gets to go to the service and everyone will be serving. So when it comes to this, think about Bellevue kids who are raised primarily in Christian homes, kids who have heard the Bible since the time they were born, kids who have a great knowledge of who the Lord is and their purpose. These kids are sharp, and I mean very, very sharp. So keep that in mind as you're teaching the kids of Impacto on Sunday. For those lessons, you will go to the link that says Impacto Lessons. And once you pull those up, they are going to look like this. And they are broken down by age. So the ages are broken down here. Now, to know what part you're going to be teaching, guess what you're going to click? You're going to click the Impacto tab. So here's the tab. We're going to go through the service one first. So this is Sunday morning service. This is that first service. If you're serving in the nursery or in toddlers, you will not teach a lesson. Basically, you can think of that as childcare. You're just hanging out, playing with the kids. And so that is nursery, and that is ages 1 and 2, the toddlers. Once you get to the 3 to 5-year-olds, you are going to teach a lesson, but it is not going to be a standard lesson like this. It's honestly going to be reading a Bible story in Spanish. Guess who's doing that? Fanny. Hooray, because she can read in Spanish. So that'll be that. Sean and Ryan will be helpers, and basically y'all are reading the quick story, and then you're playing with them a whole lot of that time. You will have craft and that kind of thing. And then once you get to 6 to 8-year-olds and 9 to 12s, this is where the real lessons are. And so this will be your teaching teams. It'll be Malia, Caitlin, and me for the first service together. And then Doug, Maggie, and Caleb will have the 9 to 12-year-olds in that. So Doug will be teaching the lesson, Malia will be teaching the lesson, and Fanny will be teaching the lesson for the first service. Once we move to the second service, we'll have Kevin teaching the lesson, again, reading in Spanish. Emily will be teaching kids 6 to 8, and Jake will be teaching kids 9 to 12. And then the other helpers in the room are going to be the ones in charge of the craft and the games. So the craft and the games on both of those serve times. Okay, so now let's look at our document here. We'll have all of these supplies. If you're teaching 1 to 3-year-olds, it tells you what supplies you need to make sure in the room for you that morning. You're going to be the one in charge of that. It'll have everything. We're going to have bubbles for you so that you can play with the kids. There's an intro activity. All of the things are very spelled out. Once you get to, this says ages 4 to 5, but it's going to be 3 to 5. And this is my old sheet. So it's going to be 3 to 5. You'll have an activity because you want to warm them up a little bit. So there's an intro, there's an activity, there's the lesson that you're going to teach. It's all written out here. So know this lesson well. You can take your notes in for these lessons When we're doing VBS out in the communities, you want to know the lesson well enough not to have notes. But for these lessons, it's like life group. So feel free to bring your notes with you, but just know it so that you're not stuck to them. There's a memory verse to teach them. This curriculum, they ask us to teach on the story of Noah with a missional perspective. And so that is how I wrote this lesson. It's the story of Noah with a missional perspective. They also ask us to teach them the Bible verse is Acts 17:30. So we want to make sure that that is what we're teaching. That's why we're sticking to this content. There's activities for you to do, how to teach that memory verse to them. The craft is spelled out here, how we're going to do that. And then we'll scroll on through, and then we have the next age group. So once you get to ages 6 to 8, so let's see who that is. That's going to be Malia, Caitlin, and Tanya, Emily, Cassidy, and Paul. We're going to be looking at ages 6 to 8, and we're going to see what we're doing in the room. So that is how Impacto works. Now for the Sunday night service, we will all be in the service together. They don't have kids ministry for service 3. So that is how the Impacto lessons work. For Friday night, that's on Sunday. For Friday night, we will all go in. Jake will be teaching the young adults in college that night, and Doug will be teaching the youth on Friday night. So this is all part of Impacto, but hopefully that explains how the Impacto part is set.